I want to do the same thing as Scott. Obviously, Scott could hear me, but I'd always like to make sure that everybody in the room is able to get clean audio. Please let me know through the question and answers panel. Okay, thank you. So I want to first say thank you, everyone, for taking your time to listen to this Q&A. Brad and I have a great show for you today. There's a lot of interesting things that we need to kind of discuss. But before we go anywhere, we always do the standard disclaimer. Trade ideas, and this is just some information for you to make sure you understand what you're seeing today, is not a registered investment advisor. So all the information that you are seeing today is for informational and educational purposes only. What are you seeing? Brad and I were kind of discussing this today because there was an interesting article written about how Apple was not a technology company, they're a fashion company that links you to the internet. And it really resonated with me because trade ideas, we are also beyond just technology. I mean, things evolve, things change. But Brad, by the way, this is what I was talking about before we started. What we are is really a media. We are a way for you to digest information. And what does our information pertain to? Well, our information pertains directly to you making money in the stock market. Everything that we do focuses on around content related to you, the individual, getting as much out of the stock market as humanly possible. So how do we do that? The first thing we do is, aside from all the technology, is this piece of media that you see here. From 6 in the morning to the close, Barry Anderson, our trading room leader, hosts a live show. It's a media show, and it's a trading room where people can not only watch, but also participate. So it's kind of like a very meritocracy-esque environment where the best people interact, and you get to really see different ways that the different people who are doing the same thing interact in the market environment. You get to see the good, the bad, and we filter it, so we avoid, like, there's no political BS and stuff like that. What you're talking about is just people who apply themselves to extracting alpha in the stock market. And this is also a way for us to on-ramp. So we try to create a systematic and synergistic environment where you can not just, learn something and then get at it and do it on your own, but it's a whole community, and it's live every single day. Our moderators are there, Jamie, Steve, I'm in the room. So we all interact with everybody, and that's how we stay current with the environment and what we want to provide for the market in terms of technology and idea generation. So the thing that everybody really wants out of our technology and out of what we provide and the media that we create and you consume is, what's the fastest way that I can get to making money? I don't want to BS about it, Brad. People always want to go, oh, I'm an investor, and, well, I want to look for value. That's like all this bullshit that we say just so that we can make ourselves feel better about the fact that in reality we are speculating and we're putting our money to work. The question is, how are you doing it, and how are you doing it better than everybody else who's on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else? So we have created this concept. We've created the technology and the methodology for you to succeed in a way that's never been available before, and it's only been around since January 1st. That's why you're seeing so many of the subscribers that answer the question of, do I have the premium service or not? Almost everybody at Trade Ideas does have the premium service. And it's because of this. We have a very simple concept to get you to the alpha. We're going to show it, discuss it, but I want to kind of break it down into rules 1, 2, and 3, because we've talked about it. It's like the Holy Trinity. During market hours, you can kind of put yourself into two camps. For those that have the premium service, you should be following the AI trades and making decisions whether to get into them or not. Because those are the trades that are the statistically viable trades. I mean, you are not going to get a feed anywhere else that has all the statistical data that backs up the calls. Now, the beauty is that you also have a community that does that as well as their own discretionary investing, which is, again, the other part. That's where I have the or. So trade ideas, we have channels that allow you, if you're not, again, whether you have premium access or not, we have channels that dissect the market so that you don't have to be tinkering with the software. You can be like you are on Netflix, going to what's trending, what's working well. Now, the stock market is this thing that the most efficient that you can be, the better you do. Okay? So how do you become efficient? Well, this is where number 2 comes in. We have the technology that allows you, and this is again why everybody mostly uses the premium service, to create alerts that then go into our system and then alert you when a certain level of price activity has taken place. There's other services that have this part, but when you combine it with the stocks that the AI presents, you become an advantaged player. You are doing things that other people don't do and can't do. So then number 3 is after market hours. Now, market's closed, you're not trading, you're basically just going through and setting up alerts. It's that simple. There's no indicators, there's no formulas, there's none of this crap that you see from every other vendor. The financial technology market is flooded with tools. There's no tools that you need. You don't need any indicators, you don't need anything else. We've leaped forward to how you can extract the best ideas in the stock market. So now I'm going to minimize the presentation and kind of talk to you about what you're going to see. So first of all, I'm going to actually, Brad, I'm going to minimize Trade Ideas Pro, and I'm going to turn on something else, Trade Ideas Web, and I'm going to put it, let me minimize, whoops. You're going to tell me that I failed again on my mouse clicking, Brad. But we just released an updated, so a lot of people are here for the Q&A, of course. So we just released a version of our web-based updated software. So this web-based software does almost everything now that Trade Ideas Pro does, and what I've done is I've kind of created a layout here, Brad, which we've done as a way that you can start imagining what this could look like maybe on your phone or iPad in portrait mode. And part of what we do is we want to create the environment where we show you the best way to look at the data so that you're not the one that's trying to figure out which piece goes where. Everything is done and laid out for you to get the most out of the information. So here at the upper left-hand corner, you have our top lists. Okay, and our top lists, by the way, for those of you that aren't Trade Idea subscribers, and for those of you that are, you have to understand that our top lists, and we have a patent pending on what we do there. They are really one of the most powerful and I would say maybe to some extent even least understood pieces of technology because of how we do server-side sorting. You know, we just allow you to do things on our top list that are not possible by any other vendor. Like being able to sort it on the float and at the same time look at the, meaning show me stocks with just a certain small float and then show me which one of those are at the same time up the most over the last 5 minutes. Again, it takes a combination of proprietary ways of how we view the data, but the bottom line is, well, you don't have to worry about the how. Look at the what. Okay? What you start catching is exactly these kinds of moves. And here's something else for you to sort of see and understand. We quickly, again, give you the space from which you can start making, you know, informed decisions as soon as possible. RLI, okay? Position in 5-day range. I mean, even though I can see, of course, the chart, right? But you can kind of see things like position in years at 85, so then I know that this is, this is a breakout area right here. And I can quickly see that because the float is not gigantic, you can right away start imagining, Brad, that what you kind of get what you need in all sports or in all things that require like nuance. You get a feel. Why is it that we or Trade Idea subscribers are not constantly pounding the table on the Apples and the Facebooks and the Netflix and the FANG stocks? Well, simply because that's not necessarily at all where the best statistical data is for individual investors. Although stocks are very, popular, they're not the ones that provide people with the best opportunities. And that is where, again, our data takes shape. So, by the way, again, there's a reason why I'm keeping it this size. And Brad, I saw what Frank was asking, but is everyone able to see this well? Because I'm hoping it's coming through well, but I specifically wanted to keep it smaller because I'm trying to kind of have you envision what you could see, again, on a portrait of an iPhone or an iPad, and how the only thing that's missing here, really, for you is imagine that this chart becomes an execution panel, and we will eventually be helping you connect to your broker and really trade from here as well. So that's, again, this is the web. This is available now. Let me expand so everyone can see the URL. Brad, should we...
I think the best thing, Dan, is pop a new tab up right there and just go to our homepage. Yeah. Show them how to get there. That way, at any time, people can just...
Good idea. And it's always good for us to... The homepage is kind of like, it's an underrated piece of real estate that we use. First of all, I love this video because it really, I thought that we've done a pretty good job. The fact that we kind of wrote it and did everything. Scott was a big kind of the architect of this one, but I really think it conveys the message well. And then if you want to see the software on the web, where it says right here, Launch TI Web, that's what you click, and then you are instantly sent to the page that I had before. So that's how easily that is. And here's just another version of that. So this one, excuse me, is even a little bit simpler. And we are going to create these type of simpler views where people can look at our data from a mobile device in a way that no mobile device has been able to give people data before. So just want you guys to understand that that's where it's going. Holly will also be heading to the web herself, and in that process we're going to completely reshape the way we display the data. So let me minimize this real quick. Excuse me. And I'm going to pull up Trade Ideas Pro.
Hey Dan, let me mention something real quick as you make that transition from the web to pro. We've done some really great stuff with respect to being able to share and collaborate your windows amongst each other or with the support group. And the ability to collaborate and share your exact layout or your window settings, the window type between the application and the web is completely in place. So you're going to be able to take a cloud link of a layout, move it from the application to the web and vice versa. So it'll be really efficient the way you're able to manipulate the windows, and also configuring. It's all exactly the same. So if you know how to use one of them, you know how to use both.
Yeah, and let me let's see here. I'm going to save this layout to the cloud. I'm going to clear the previous, save entire layout, and I'm going to call this new mobile layout.
And by the way, you do get access to both versions. You can log into both, not simultaneously, but if you log into one, it'll log you out of the other, and you can go back and forth if you'd like.
So here I'm just typing a description so you guys know what I'm doing. It says best way to view TI data in profile mode on mobile device. right, Brad? Save. Did I forget to say save and share?
Well, if you're going to use the same account, then you don't need to. I don't know how you're logged into your web
I
version.
want to give this to everybody else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let me do that again. Entire layout. Mobile. I'm not going to do
the AI stocks of interest? Is that the? I would say you could just go ahead and grab the share from your own cloud. You don't have to resave.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. Brad, see, that's why I have Brad here. So I didn't have to resave it. Brad, thank you. I can go to Tools and go to the cloud. New mobile layout. Because I did save it just a second ago. You guys saw me do it, and I can say share, and then I'm gonna copy, close this, and I'm gonna paste
That's a powerful little link that you've got right there.
So everybody can try to take that link that I gave you, and if you want, you can again open up the Trade Ideas web-based application, and you will get, whether you're in demo mode or not, right? They'll still be able to open that layout and get the windows.
That's right.
Yeah.
I do have to ask you though. Do you have a custom symbol list on any of those windows?
Goodness gracious, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I attempted to do this simply. Of course, you never know, but no, simple. Well, yeah. Okay, so now Brad and I are going to switch modes to Trade Ideas Pro. Start with a very, very high-level overview. Remember, on the left, Trade Ideas, and this is one of the big things, Brad, that I think really we have to reiterate this all the time. So how did we, and Brad, this isn't a trick question for you, but I want to say, like, how did we nail the Fed move? Did we predict it? No.
Well, we didn't. We didn't do anything.
No, you can't predict anything. We were not, nobody is able to predict what happened with the Fed or how the market reacted to it. The reason that we destroyed the market today is because, as we've said all along, we have situational algorithmic readiness for any move that happens. Like, for example, let's say the market all of a sudden starts to run, something major just happened, like what you see in the S&P right here, this whole thing, okay? So this is described as like something crazy is happening and everything is running up. Well, in this case, we have a strategy called Tailwind that happened to have been ready that takes advantage of these moves. And it had 10 trades with a 90% success rate. Okay? And what you're seeing is basically the reason it can succeed in this kind of environment, it can do some of the things that it can do, is because since we're watching every stock, we can look at a stock and let's say, like, Tailwind is basically a description of an idea where something has momentum, but you're not trying to catch it perfectly, right? You're saying this is going to go, it's going to pull back, and then it's going to go. And it's going to go, pull back, and then it's going to go, pull back, and then it's going to go, and that's how it goes in kind of a sine wave pattern. So this is what we do. Because we are ready for this, as soon as this starts happening a certain way, we catch it. That makes it kind of, in an interesting way, Brad, and I wanted to go back to the presentation for a second. Again, I'm not even going to go into presentation mode, but Brad, do you see what I'm saying here? Trade Ideas can't miss. We can't miss, and I mean that wholeheartedly, meaning because we watch every single stock on every single time frame, we never miss any move of any stock. And because our artificial intelligence, which can describe stock moves, like, for example, people tend to always overcomplicate things. This is why in the beginning we said, keep it simple. So look at this move up, Brad, right? It's a very strong momentum up move, right?
Yep.
And we just said that we've got algorithms that are waiting for this move to happen. It can happen tomorrow, the next day. It may not happen for a year, but if it happens, we'll be ready, right?
And by the way, these algorithms have no idea what stocks could possibly, come into them. It has no idea.
Absolutely. But now imagine this, Brad. Well, let's say it was flipped, that this move actually happened to the downside. Well, we have another algorithm with another different name called wait for the aid, or, there's shot through the heart. They're waiting for these moves, and they will go in that direction when they see, like, oh, okay, again, they're the FBI profilers. They're the behavioral unit analysis group in that show, Criminal Minds. If you want the really good metaphor, we are the criminal minds. Ooh, I like that. Brad, trade ideas is the criminal minds of the market? Wait a minute, that didn't sound right coming out. But we are really approaching it that way. We completely do not attempt to predict anything because the effort spending on prediction is pointless. But what we have created, and why you should be with us, and why you should tell your friends if you like them, is that it's situational awareness. The ultimate weaponry for efficient processing of financial media and data. Brad, you see how I looped it all the way back to the beginning there?
Yeah, you're amazing.
Thank you. Is situational awareness. Meaning that instead of trying to say, oh, S&P's here and it's going to go here, don't have a meditation to not even do that. Like, just wait and let it happen. And since you don't have to be watching it, you've got this AI that all it's done is designed itself to try to help you. Look at these statistics. Look at these numbers. And there was even a hiccup today. But this is the thing that we're trying to say. Like, if this does not convince you, if you think that you can out-trade this kind of, statistics on a day like today, when, by the way, as we all know, it wasn't easy. Brad always likes to point this out to me. Like, when Brad and I do design, we often do one of these exercises, what I'm showing you, where it's like you really kind of get to see, like, because you feel it more, right? This kind of lets you feel the pulse of the market. Now, what I want to do here is kind of remind you that it was not like this bullish rah, rah, rah. I mean, there was a big down move, digestion, some rally, no rally. Then it started to really
then at
rally.
11 o'clock, this is where it was crazy, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, it started to go, right? And it made you believe right here. But that's when it crushes you. But that's an emotional human talking, right? These are all the things that I picture myself saying to myself, but I didn't say them. I didn't say them because I don't have to, because I have this technology that's feeding me, and it's ready. When this starts to happen, it's getting me into this and this and this and this, and these things are going, and the P&L is going, and you are in the things that you need to be in. So then we talk about the methodology. Let's do this real quick, okay? Because I feel like I have two good minutes to before we give Scott a little bit of time. But Brad, let's start with the kind of basics. Look at Constellium. I don't even know what the hell does this do. Aluminum. Okay, whatever. I guess I should have done it from the name. So we zoom in, zoom out, kind of take a quick idea. And behaviorally speaking, right, we've talked about, we like these sine waves. So this is what you call a tell. It's like in poker and cards. Something happened here. This is not foolhardy. People are making an investment, digestion. So now we create an alert for ourselves. And we say AI liked it, and so do I. This is the methodology. It does not get any more easy. Now I know it, I can move away and completely release my care for this stock. Let's move on to something else, lumber liquidators, which we know the story. I mean, we've been here 100 billion zillion times. Look at this thing, okay? Now, remember, the beauty of the stock market and the American dream is redemption. companies can actually have the ability possibly to turn things around, which is what it looks like is happening. And by no means was it easy. And by no means would you want to have been in it, which is why we never recommend just staying in stuff. But you certainly could have been riding some waves. Okay. However, when you think about the big picture, and this is what our AI is looking at, it's looking at the very big picture. It's starting to say, hey, I smell possibly a run. And look, it's done it before. It's done it here and here. And this is, again, you know, part of the whole field. Like, nobody knows if it will happen, but I'll tell you this. This has been a very long period of digestion and pain for a lot of people, and if these guys can do something, there is a lot of momentum that could take place and really propel this higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert right here, because I want it to clear. You know, in fact, I can say 8:20. We got wood. If you don't add comedy to what you do, then it doesn't resonate as much. So that's kind of like mnemonics. You know, I like to, like, and by the way, everything I do on webinars, I actually use. So even though I try to provide humor and show you that, hey, this is, you don't have to like be some sort of, you know, ogre to yourself, but at the same time, it really does help me. When I see this stuff, I'm like, oh, I get it. I literally situationally remember, like, okay, it was up 147, etc. Although again, you can put all of this in. So it's setting these alerts at the appropriate visual levels. Like again, like right here, we can say resistance. Clear. And you can see why I said that. Now, one of the things that you'll know if you're with us in the trading room is that Barry and almost all the other successful people in the room, all of them do the exact same thing. We all do this. This is a methodology. It's like, again, if you go to a very expensive golf professional and he teaches you like his method, well, you know, you ought to be imitating that. Here's another example, destination maternity. And why is it that we are in these stocks and not Apple and Facebook? Because you're not going to find Apple or Facebook moving up 11% in a day. Okay? And by the way, everything, and I will tell you again, almost everything that the individual investor has learned about this thing called volume in the stock market is wrong. Wrong from the statistical point of view. The notion of what you think is liquid or is not liquid, or what liquidity even means. It's kind of been it's been put out there to sort of keep you the way you are, trading, you know, the FANG stocks. But the reality is, and this is why you are here, hopefully, is because you've kind of had enough of the BS and you want to see what the potential really is. And that's what we are here to offer. We're offering you a new view on the market, a view where you don't know what you're going to be into, but you just know the odds are good and the setups are good and it's the right industries. Okay, look at these patterns. You know, when we back out of them a little bit and you can start seeing like gigantic long-term trend lines could be starting to break. And you just make notes. So this is the simple 1, 2, 3 approach with trade ideas. The computer is serving up the algorithms. Everything is done. You know, for those of you who may have not been aware, but yesterday we caught Sarepta. Or was it the day before? Brad, which day was it?
It was on Monday.
Every day is a Monday to me. On Monday, the AI actually caught this thing. You know, and that again, I don't know what any other system did. You know, and that's because we also have one that's specifically waiting for the buyout type of move. So, okay, Brad, why don't we let Scott pop in real quick, tell everybody what we're going to present, and then you and I will field more questions afterwards and do a lot of other stuff. Scott, are we ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, if my mic's off mute, I sure can. So we're a software as a service company, and our subscriptions are our business. So we have two subscription types now. We have standard and premium. And the primary difference between them is the premium gives you access to the AI Holly and unlimited access to our backtesting tool, the Odds Maker. There's some other goodies that are also included in the premium, like the price alerts that are shareable and red bar ignore, green bar ignore features, among others. But the standard lets you get in the door at only $99 a month. Premium starts at $188 a month or is $1888 a year, which is still an outstanding deal. And making it even better for you is the code that you see on your screen. You can use price alerts. It's all caps, just like you see it there, because it is case sensitive, and that'll take 15% off your first month or year of premium, or 10% off your first month or year of standard. Made something else easy for you. If you go to the handouts panel on your GoToWebinar interface, it says handouts right there, and there's a little plus right by it. Just click on that to expand it. And there's a link there for QA discount code PDF that'll contain this slide as well as a contact slide with all the contact information you'll need if you have any questions about us. But if you just go to trade-ideas.com/price and use that code on checkout, you can get that discount, and that's going to be good through the end of the month. You can also use that to upgrade from standard monthly to in either the premium year or premium monthly. But if you're upgrading from $888 a year, or if you're on the old $628 a year, and you want to get into the premium service, there's a couple ways to do that. Easiest way to do it is to ask our customer service agents at info@trade-ideas.com, and they'll help you out with that upgrade from the standard annual. But if you're on the standard monthly, just buy the premium upgrade. It'll overwrite your existing service, and use a discount code to offset that. If you want to ask any questions, Dan was just showing the contact slide. Just email us at info@trade-ideas.com. If you have a question about the presentation, you can reach out to Dan directly at dan@trade-ideas.com. If you follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/tradeideiaspro, you'll see some unique stuff we occasionally post there, so it never hurts if you're on the Facebooks to follow us there too, so you can see those updates. And you can follow Dan's antics on Twitter at TradeIdeas1, or our corporate accounts at TradeIdeas. Again, if you have any questions, info@'s the best place. If you have maybe a subscription issue or a renewal thing that you're running into problems with, go ahead and you can call us at the 619 number during normal business hours on the West Coast. But again, the info@ is the place to go if you have a technical question or a trading question. So the code again is the price alerts, named after one of our premium features, and that's going to be good through the end of the month, so don't sit on that too long. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Brad. I'll turn that back over to you. And I'll remind everyone there should be a recording on later tonight, but I did have a data interruption a little while ago in the middle of it, so there may be a blank spot or there may be a truncated recording. We'll see what happens when I convert that. Guys?
Okay, Scott, thank you very much. So, Brad, why don't you and I, we'll jump right into, because, well, Alex Z's question's very easy. So, Alex, the premium gives people access to the artificial intelligence, which is the thing that basically stock picks for you using AI. And it's a robotic system that automatically basically pretends that it's human and tries to invest. So that's what the premium service is, and as well as the alerts, the price alerts that you set up with it, where you can, again, tag any stock at any price, and then it will alert you whichever way it wants to.
And then don't forget the backtesting tool.
Oh, my goodness, well, we're going to show that. Thank you, Brad. That's a very good point. So,
after all, Dan, hey, the backtesting tool, I mean, this was developed, about 8 years ago, but this is really the foundation on which Holly uses to really analyze the market, analyze each particular strategy.
No doubt. I'm going to bring a couple of windows in, hide some of the windows. So, okay, backtesting. We're going to talk about this real quick, and I think Brad made a very good point, that when Trade Ideas started out, actually, all we had were streaming alerts, because, again, we were all kind of very active investors, self-directed investors, And we were doing things in 1995 that you guys are trying to do now. And we have just a very good fortune of being at the right place at the right time. And we had the kind of access that was extraordinary. So we learned from that, and we created these streaming alerts. But as things evolved, by the way, Ritter, pharmaceuticals, see, like sometimes I see things, Brad, and like in this particular case, I just have to immediately set an alert. Here, let me do that real quick, because that's just too good looking. And I'm going to say too good looking. By the way, for those of you that aren't customers, write down the simple names that I'm putting in. Go into our trading room is free. I'll make sure I reiterate that. We don't charge for that. So you really kind of get the full ballet service and treatment. So this is a historical perspective of stocks that are breaking out on volume. It's an alert window where stocks breaking out on volume, and if you can imagine, every symbol will look, in terms of how it looks, very similar. In other words, every one of these looks darn good. That's one of the genesis of the problems that we decided to solve for the individual investor. We realized mathematically and situationally that when you create an alert window and it's showing you stuff in real time, everything looks like something you want to buy, right, Brad? I mean, because it's by design. The problem is this. What happens when this happens, and what happens in the future? Like, meaning, like, when this event takes place, what happens in the future? The problem that people often make in the stock market is that they see this, and their brain says, hey, I've seen this behavior before on another chart, and this looks good. Because you're like, this is support, and this is support, and this is support, and this is support, wait, or was this support? You think you know what you're doing, but it's a lot more complicated, honestly. You can set visual alerts, but the whole interaction is a lot more complicated from a mathematical point of view. So we decided to ask ourselves that same question. We said, well, what happens to these stocks? So we created this thing called the odds maker. We said, how would we want this answered? And when we started saying, okay, well, let's pretend that the markets, when the markets open, from first open to close, anytime we see this good-looking chart, we're going to get into it and get out, at the close. I mean, again, just making a very big assumption. Like, what's generally happening? Which way is the wind blowing? So here, at time of day at 1 o'clock, so I'm on Pacific time, so of course that's when I exit. And so I put on this hypothesis. So this technology allows us to hypothesize. And hypothesis is really the genesis of how you can figure out if what you're doing is or is not working. Mike, of course, I will share this strategy with everyone, but just so that you can kind of see what we're doing, right? You can see that the computer is going through every single time any one stock was in a window like this, called breaking out on volume, okay? And it said to itself, okay, do this and tell me what happens at 1 o'clock to this stock. That's the beauty of having the kind of database and technology that we have. And notice that we're the only company in all of fintech that allows you to do what we're doing here right now. Take a situation, and I don't mean the guy on the Jersey Shore, but take some situation, an event, and go back and see, well, how did that event play out across the entire universe? You see, like, and by the way, Brad, do you remember this? One of the big things that really made us realize how far ahead we were from all of fintech is when Brad and I were trying to sell trade ideas as a service to Bloomberg. And at Bloomberg, we kept on running into, they're like, okay, well, what's your symbol list? The whole thing was like, you had to know what you were going to be trading ahead of time before you could do anything. But the market has evolved so much past that because stocks drift in and out of different lists where they should be. You just can't do that. You have to be watching everything. So let's take a look at what you're seeing here, and again, why it is that we are the fastest growing subscription service in all of the United States on the fintech side. So we just analyzed 2,000 transactions in probably less than a minute, and we found out that although this stuff looks beautiful, it only has a 44.6 success rate. Your average winner is 49 cents. Your average loser is 34. That's a 1.1. That's not bad, in general. But would you want to trade that? You shouldn't, because what this means is you get torn up by the misses. You can't afford to bloody nose yourself through this. And I really want to urge you to consider, the fact that this, again, you look at all of it, and you realize how good it all looks. But when you have the power of statistical analysis behind you, you see things that were completely hidden from you before, and you are able to make much more informed decisions. So this backtesting is what allowed us to create the artificial intelligence that you're seeing right here. This is the culmination of what I just showed you. It's funny that Rob was asking, can this backtesting result be improved automatically? Well, that's what the AI does. The AI goes through all the iterations of testing and testing and testing, and in fact, as soon as the market closes, our overnight routine starts going through everything that's been traded and relearning and learning and learning, and it does it. So what I'm going to do now is, let me see. I think I have a strategy. Let me find it real quick.
I just Skyped you one if you are looking for a good strategy, and you can show really what the AI does to anything.
The strategy window was hidden behind GoTo. It's kind of funny. Okay, so here's an example of a strategy. It's called wait for the 8. And I'm going to hit backtest, and I'm going to hit, am I going long or short, Brad? Long, right?
You're going to go short. And why?
Short? Are you sure you gave me the right one?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me do something real quick.
Yeah, mine should be right. It's 15 minutes after the open, and you're stopping at 11 o'clock.
Maybe I had the wrong link. So sometimes, again, you can copy links, etc., but I can go to File. I can always go to Load from Cloud and copy and paste what Brad just sent me, and this is good for you guys to see. And now, here I have a window called Wait for the 8. I right-click, I backtest the strategy, and this is already bolded, and that's how I know. So I hit Simulate Sell. And this should help you see the kind of things that you are trading.
Now, it's good to point out that this is a strategy that won't trigger every day. It's waiting for a certain event, and it'll pounce when that event happens.
Well, that's what situational awareness literally is. That's the thing that we are bringing to the table. And by the way, just because your odds are so good, it also does not guarantee success. As anybody who understands the whole notion of card counting, the odds help you, but you still have to be able to manage. And that's really where we take it to the next level, because the artificial intelligence, not only is it serving you up this type of data, this type of situational capacity, the ability to have, instead of what you saw, which was a 44% success rate, how about 80%? Does that sound pretty good to you? And a profit factor of 7.67. Again, this is what you need just to have a chance. Because again, even this is not foolproof. You've got the odds in your favor, everything's going good, but again, it's the real world. Anything can happen. Our artificial intelligence helps you through that, because throughout the whole time it's giving you feedback. Okay, so every time, for example, and again, I'm moving now back to the AI part of the presentation. But we do things with our data to help you really be able to trade around. Okay? And trading around the AI is one of the best things and best ways that you can spend your time. And what we do is we have a column called Profit Change Last 5 Minutes. And regardless of whether you're long or short, the software will always show you up top every AI stock that has moved up the most in the last 5 minutes in the direction of the AI trade. So as the AI moves and shifts from risk on mode to risk off mode, which is basically whether you're conservative or you let volatility help you out, and you do the one that's paying off the most. And again, we have tons of Q&A on that, and Barry and we've discussed this many times, and we will continue to. But the point I'm making is that the simple viewing, instead of like drawing 700 million shadows and whatever it is that people do on charts these days, we're just serving ourselves up the things that look the most favorable to us. That allows us to be the best on the side of discretion, and it allows us to be the best on the side of systematic investing. So, Brad, let's finish it off with the Q&A. I mean, that's all really that I had for today. The big things on the news side, because again, it's a Q&A session, is that very shortly, I think maybe Scott already put it in, we have a brand new version, 4.87. This version will allow you to toggle between risk on and risk off profit. You should be on the one that has the on it. Okay, that's how it works. And of course, an updated version of the web. There's tons of amazing stuff happening in the lab. You're at the right place, and the market has never been better, guys. Never, ever has the market been better for investors. Look at some of the beautiful names that are setting up. And again, for individual investors, the best things are these biotechs that happen to be moving gigantic percentage moves because of their structure, the small floats, the interesting market that they're in. They have all of the classic things that you want from investing. They've got the lower price intervals, they've got the momentum, it's everywhere you want to be, and there's no place but trade ideas to get you to them at the fastest time possible. All right, Brad, what else we got? Steve D.
Right up here. I do have a question about moving averages on charts, and just a little bit of visibility into what our development team has been doing chart related is we recently just added charts to our web-based version. We do have a lot of planned enhancements coming back to the C# downloadable application, but we were focusing our charting efforts on the web, and more stuff will be coming in the C# program.
Yeah, you're going to see lots of improvement in the charting, but less so on the indicator side, although there will be some very basics. It's more so on the processing of information. Our whole goal is to evolve the whole mother. We want to evolve execution, we're going to evolve charting, everything, and all through that core analytics that we have. So tons of stuff in the works. Okay, I think it looks like we're pretty caught up, Brad, right?
I don't see anything unanswered.
Okay, so last thing, just again, maintenance. Guys, make sure you're on the list for the trade of the week. Make sure that you are also signed up for all of our other webinars during the day. And if you like investing with a good community, nothing is better than our free trading room, which is really starting to dominate the internet. We are the ones that people recommend to other people. We're not paid for, and we're not paid for because we have technology that we charge for. That's our advantage over everybody else. So that's it. Again, if there's any other questions, I'm going to pull up the the data slide.
Alan just had a question regarding some of the data, and we did just migrate to a new fundamental data source. We're using Edgar to pull in some fundamental data, and there's still a small little problem specifically that has to do with the float, the outstanding shares on stocks that have recently split. But we're looking to get that worked out pretty quickly. So, but yeah, for the most part, everything's been switched over, and the data is pretty clean. We like it a lot. There's just that one nuance of stocks that have had a recent split, but we'll get that covered.
Yeah, I mean, we have a full science lab, of people that are working on this technology for you guys literally all the time. So everything that needs fixing will be fixing, and so much more beauty is coming. Again, never been more excited. Stuart, yes, the number of prints is definitely something that we've looked at as a filter. We kind of paused on the filtering stuff because here's the thing. If you think about, again, and no offense at all, but from the point of view of the number of prints, it's yet another data piece that would then be fed into the AI. But right now we're getting this kind of, look at the percentages. And like, how much better can you really do? It's almost like people want to win, but it's like they want to win their way only. And what we say is that, listen, we get it, and we understand, and we're doing everything in our power to make this more comfortable for you. But at the same time, you can already win, and win big. Lance, the charts are part of Trade Ideas Pro, so they're in the downloadable version on our website. I'll just go there real quick for, let me come over here. So this is our homepage. If you download Trade Ideas Pro, that will have the charts that you see here, but there are also charts on the web, which you can access as well. To get the live trading room, you just click on it right here. And again, for all other elements and support, you can just scroll up and down, see a lot of different things. Oh, look at that handsome devil. Tons of stuff. So I want to, again, thank everybody for taking their time and coming out and listening to us. We really appreciate it, and we want you to know that you're at the right place. This is where you need to be for success in the stock market. So good for you. And we look forward to interacting with you and hope to see you at the other webinars and in our trading room, and hopefully subscribers as well. Take care and have a great rest of the day. Brad, thank you. Scott, thank you. Everybody, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep, thank you.